Today, let's dive deep into the intense battle between Luffy and Kizaru, the assassination plot surrounding Vegapunk, and the movements of Saint Saturn. Let's explore detailed considerations and theories. The fierce battle between Luffy and Kizaru unfolded, and behind it, the plot to assassinate Vegapunk was in motion, wasn't it? As Stella and Atlas progress toward the Faberio phase, the intentions and the story behind their movements become a point of curiosity. Also, we discuss how the movement shown by Saint Saturn will influence the story development in the future. If you find this information new, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Also, if I've missed explaining your favorite scene, please do let me know in the comments. The world of One Piece still has many mysteries and deep theories to be uncovered, so let's share our thoughts and insights together. Of course, this video includes spoilers up to episode 1093, so if you haven't watched it yet, please be cautious. Now, let's get right into it. First, let's organize the current situation. The intensifying battle between Kizaru, targeting Vegapunk's assassination, and Luffy is ongoing, while Stella and Atlas are heading toward the Faberio phase to escape from Kizaru. They also use Vegatank 8 to recover the control of the stolen Pacifista and to save Bonnie. Luffy successfully defends against Kizaru's pursuit, and as Atlas reissues orders to the Pacifistas, the authority seems to have shifted from the authority chip holder, Kizaru, to Vegapunk. Lastly, since Saint Saturn was shown in a meaningful way, the authority rank seems to be overwritten by the world government side later on. The problem here is Vegatank 8 becoming a target for the Navy's attack and the potential death of Vegapunk that comes with it. Geniuses. They can see their own future. I'll probably die soon. Shaka. In episode 1064, Vegapunk Shaka said this while talking to Dragon via transponder snail during his initial appearance. As you all know, Shaka was shot and killed by York. Most likely when Shaka said, "I will probably die soon," it seems to be pointing at Vegapunk Stella and Pancracos, the origin itself. This is because York's shooting was incidental and sudden. On the other hand, the death a genius foresees is likely a death that comes after various plans and causality. And Hiluluk and Tom, who once had dreams like Vegapunk, passed away entrusting various things to the Straw Hat crew. Therefore, it is highly likely that Vegapunk will also pass away, entrusting his dreams to the Straw Hat crew. The first stage to reach there is the depiction of Vegapunk's solo action and the rescue of Bonnie. Initially, when Bonnie arrived at Egghead, she held clear hostility towards Vegapunk, but lately, the situation seems to be changing. Vegapunk, on the other hand, never harbored any ill feelings towards Bonnie from the get-go, and seems to be trying to entrust her with something instead. "There is something I must give to this girl." Stella. This something that must be given hasn't been revealed yet. It's almost certain that this is deeply connected with the promise exchange between Vegapunk and Kuma. Bonnie, having touched upon Kuma's memories placed within room NICU, has completely lost her killing intent towards Vegapunk. Although the misunderstanding and miscommunication between these two seems to have been resolved, there hasn't been any depiction of Vegapunk handing something over to Bonnie yet. "I'm going to save you now, Bonnie. Can I leave such a young girl to die like that?" Stella. Furthermore, from Vegapunk's recent words, we can speculate that Bonnie's actual age might be considerably younger than her appearance suggests. "You've grown quite a bit, Bonnie. Kids these days grow up fast." Kizaru. The words Kizaru said in episode 1092 were not just a casual family greeting. In other words, it might have been a foreshadowing that Bonnie was growing at an astonishing speed. Bonnie's actual age might be that of the young girl who was confined in the warm water vortex before the Straw Hat crew arrived at Egghead in episode 1060. For instance, when Oda Sensei was asked about the ages of the worst generation in One Piece, Volume 68's SBS, he noted Bonnie's age is an estimate due to her ability. If Bonnie's true form is a little girl, that would be a reason to obscure her real age. Also, Bonnie changes her clothes casually in front of Luffy and Genbai, and faints at the sight of a bug. In other words, it can be perceived that she hasn't developed discernment yet. Therefore, if Vegapunk is treating Bonnie like a relative's child with affection, and not talking about Kuma because she is still young, it makes sense. And if this hypothesis is correct and Bonnie's true form is a little girl, we can't deny the possibility that Bonnie could be the 10th member of the Straw Hat crew. Because the Straw Hat crew has quite a variation to avoid overlapping physical features. If Bonnie is a girl, she becomes a very possible candidate as the 10th member, since she would be a type not seen before in terms of appearance. What remains in the mysteries surrounding Vegapunk and Bonnie is, why didn't Vegapunk talk to Bonnie about the purpose of Kuma's modification surgery? I made a promise with Kuma. I will never tell you the reason. Dr. Vegapunk, Stella. Regarding this, probably Bonnie is somewhat closer to the truth since she peeked into Kuma's past memories. That's Kuma's past, to be precise. It's his past when he was forced into experiments by the Celestial Dragons. Currently, Kuma has joined the 7 warlords of the sea after the modification surgery, or before it, is unclear, moving from being the king of the Sorbet Kingdom to the Revolutionary Army. The reasons for Kuma's actions are likely connected to what Vegapunk will tell Bonnie. If so, it is predictable that it is somewhat related to what Vegapunk wants to give Bonnie. And Vegapunk is the foremost expert in lineage factor research. If Kuma and Bonnie are real parent and child, the reason for the modification surgery connected to the special race that Kuma belongs to, and Bonnie also inherits the blood of the same race. When it comes to a race persecuted by celestial dragons, the first that comes to mind is, of course, the D clan. Then Bartholomew D. Kuma and Bartholomew D. Bonnie. If both inherit the D and are of a special race, the fact that Vegapunk was researching about Kuma is therefore the lineage factor of the D clan, and infinite energy or unextinguishable flames are involved. Considering this, Bonnie's significance of being a special race becomes increasingly substantial. Of course, it is too early to confirm that the true form of Bonnie is a young girl. Kuma's current age is 47, and Bonnie's estimated age is 24. So if this age is correct, Bonnie is the daughter when Kuma was 23. If Bonnie is around 5 years old, she would be a child born after Kuma turned 40. Therefore, it feels quite late to have an heir when considering him as the king of the Sorbet Kingdom. Also, whether Bonnie is truly Kuma's daughter is a bit dubious. Indeed, when Bonnie infiltrated Mary Joie, the old woman she transformed into looked exactly like Connie Empress, and she was not at all detected by the guards of Mary Joie. Therefore, it is highly possible that Bonnie inherits the blood of the Sorbet royal family, but the problem is the quite close relationship between Kuma and Vegapunk. Kuma has undergone modification surgeries many times at Vegapunk's place. Furthermore, he is deeply involved in Vegapunk's research to the extent that even his ability itself is extracted, and moreover, Vegapunk is the top expert in lineage factor research. Since technologies of cloning such as Stussy or Seraphim have been established, there is still a possibility that Bonnie is a clone, not Kuma's actual daughter. The previously mentioned hypothesis of Bonnie as a young girl and the theory of Kuma and Bonnie being part of the D clan still have room to be overturned. Therefore, currently, it doesn't go beyond one possibility. However, as a personal impression, isn't it almost confirmed that Bonnie is a young girl? Outside the laboratory, Zoro and Lucci are engaged in a fierce battle. In episode 1093, the combat scene between the two lasted about 1 page. Here, Zoro, fighting against Lucci, who has become an awakened form, was depicted using a combat style believed to be Enma 3-sword style. Enma 3-sword style is a technique used in the latter part of the fight against King, and as depicted on the cover of Volume 102. It involves a style where 3 swords are enshrouded in green flames. Speaking of enshrouding swords in flames, Shanks also enshrouded his beloved sword, Griffin, in flames when defeating Toromjuka in film Red. Thus, enshrouding in flames might be one of the final forms of combat technique where Haki is imbued in the sword. In addition, not only are flames enshrouded, but the sword also undergoes black blade transformation, confirming the use of armament Haki. Since black lightning is depicted on the left side of the panel where Zoro is up close, it seems likely that he is also using Conqueror's Haki. Furthermore, in the fight against Daz Bones in Alabasta, Zoro became able to cut through iron. And during the fight against Kaido, he was able to unleash an attack that imbued his sword with Conqueror's Haki for the first time. In other words, Zoro has been constantly growing through battles. Therefore, there is a good chance that Zoro may master the attack that is imbued with Conqueror's Haki, which he has not fully mastered yet in this fight against Lucci. Against Zoro, Lucci seems to be in an awakened form enshrouded with armament Haki, as shown in his battle against Luffy. Lucci's armament Haki is so strong that it can pierce the guard of Sentomaru, who claims it to be the world's strongest. And Zoro possesses an attack power that can inflict a deep wound on Kaido, who is extremely sturdy. Given that he is withstanding this, it can be said that the two are having quite an evenly matched battle, can't it? On the other hand, Luffy, who grabbed Kizaru with his gigantic hand in the previous episode, swings him around and throws him into the sea, which is the greatest weakness of a Devil Fruit user. However, Kizaru won't simply fall into the sea. He splits his own body into numerous light bullets, like Yasakani no Magatama. Just when you think those light bullets are approaching Luffy, suddenly each one transforms into Kizaru and attacks Luffy with Amo no Murakamo. In response, Luffy unleashes Gum Gum White Stamp, and while this attack did eliminate all of Kizaru's clone bodies at once, it probably did not damage Kizaru's main body. In other words, Kizaru can create a large number of clone bodies that do not share damage with his own body. Moreover, this technique of creating clone bodies, each possessing the speed of light, and judging from the damage to Luffy, a power nearly equal to Kizaru's main body, is an extremely powerful technique. Although it seems like any Logia-type Devil Fruit user could perform this clone body creation technique, no Logia-type user we've seen until now has done it. This means that the technique of transforming a part of one's separated body and making it attack the target is an extraordinarily advanced one. And Kizaru, who was pointed out by his master Zephyr in film Red for relying too much on his abilities, can be interpreted as having outstanding abilities. This technique of creating numerous clone bodies might be a feat that only Kizaru can accomplish. Also, from the combat depiction this time, it's presumed that the weakness of these clone bodies is that they vanish once they're attacked. Also, since all the clones using Amo no Murakumo, the clone bodies can only perform simple movements. And since all the clones were eliminated without completely avoiding Luffy's attack, they are overwhelmingly less agile. Even taking these weaknesses into account, seeing through this technique on a first look is almost impossible. If you knew beforehand, it's a very troublesome technique, since while you're defeating the powerful clone bodies, the main body can move freely at the speed of light. On the other hand, the battle with Kizaru marks the third battle in which Luffy has fought using Gear 5, following the battles against Kaido and Lucci. By watching the 3 battle scenes, it has become apparent that Gear5's techniques mainly consist of new techniques in the form of basic techniques with Dawn added. And while Luffy is dealing with the clone bodies, Kizaru approaches Vegapunk, the target. Riding on Vega Tank 8, Kizaru shoots a laser at Vegapunk, who is heading towards the factory layer. But the next movement, unbelievably, Luffy prevents all attacks on Vegapunk by eating the laser. Eating even a laser, it's truly the most ridiculous ability in the world, isn't it? However, after eating the laser, he doesn't simply absorb it, but releases it from his entire body while shouting loudly. Therefore, the damage might not be entirely zero. If the damage from eating the laser is zero or minimal, Kizaru's laser will be nearly ineffective against Luffy. In that case, the ensuing battle is expected to be a close-range combat, which Luffy excels at. Also, just like this time when Luffy was dealing with the clone bodies and Kizaru targeted Vegapunk, there is a high possibility that he might outsmart Luffy again to aim for Vegapunk. Therefore, Luffy, you see, must not give Kizaru the leeway to aim for Vegapunk. In other words, unlike the previous battles, this battle involves elements that require attention, not only to the formidable enemy in front, but also to others. Moreover, as it is evident from Kizaru aiming for Vegapunk while fighting Luffy, the victory condition for Kizaru in this battle at Egghead is the assassination of Vegapunk. Kizaru is fighting Luffy merely because he is obstructing his mission. Thus, the battle at Egghead is conditional. Even if there is no conclusion to the battle between Luffy and Kizaru, achieving each of their victory conditions, such as assassinating Vegapunk or escaping from Egghead, would mark the end. Therefore, unlike the previous battles where conclusions were reached, there is also a possibility that the battle between Luffy and Kizaru may not reach a definitive conclusion. Luffy, having defended against Kizaru's attack by eating the laser, has somehow overcome the crisis and reached the Faberio phase with Stella and Atlas. All pacifistas, change the orders from Vegapunk. Eradicate the Marines on the island. Atlas, successfully changing the orders given to Pacifista Mark III due to Vegapunk having higher authority than Kizaru, who holds the authority chip. Several pacifistas were destroyed in battles with Cypher Pole and the Navy. However, since originally there were 50, quite a number should still remain. Therefore, the situation, which was overwhelmingly advantageous for the Navy, can be said to have improved slightly now that the pacifistas have switched to Vegapunk's side. Furthermore, with Saint Satum depicted in the last frame of chapter 1093, timing-wise, this depiction signifies that Saint Satum is finally making a move. If Saint Satum does make a move, the actions considered are the following two. The first is deploying to the front lines, and the second is rewriting the orders to the pacifistas. First, about deploying to the front lines. The appearance of the 5 elders changed during the assassination of King Cobra, depicted in chapter 1005. Considering their standing position when in human form, it's thought that Saint Satum has transformed into a form with bull-like horns on its head. The details of this form are unknown, but it's presumably a zone-type devil fruit user. And since the 5 elders didn't take much damage even when hit by Sabo's attack, they are quite powerful. Therefore, there is a possibility that Saint Satum will finally deploy to the front lines to execute the assassination of Vegapunk, currently being obstructed by the 4 emperors and Straw Hat crew. Next, about rewriting the orders to the pacifistas. In the last of chapter 1093, Vegapunk rewrote orders to the pacifistas through authority ranking. To clarify the authority ranking, first place is the 5 elders, second is Vegapunk, third is Sentomaru, and fourth is the holder of the authority chip. And currently, orders from Kizaru, who is utilizing the authority chip, have been rewritten by Vegapunk, who is second in rank. Meaning, from the current situation, only the 5 elders, who are first in the authority rank, can rewrite the orders. And regarding the power of the pacifistas currently obeying Vegapunk's orders, it can be said that regular Marines stand no chance against them since the pacifistas were overwhelming Cypher Pole. Therefore, the situation where the Navy was superior due to numerical advantage might be overturned if the pacifistas become enemies of the Navy. Hence, there is a possibility that Saint Satum, who has a higher authority rank than Vegapunk, may rewrite the orders to the pacifistas. Above, we've looked at 2 potential actions of Saint Satum, who has shown signs of finally making a move. But there is a risk that the 5 elders' abilities are connected to the existence of Imu. And since it doesn't seem like Saint Satum trusts the Navy 100%, the first possibility of Saint Satum deploying personally seems low. Therefore, the second possibility of rewriting the orders to the pacifistas through authority ranking seems more likely, although Transponder Snail are invalid from rewriting authority ranks. Just like when Vegapunk loudly shouted his orders after coming down to the factory layer this time, getting considerably close seems necessary. However, in the case of Saint Satum, the abilities are unknown. Using a part of those unknown abilities, it might be possible to rewrite orders to the pacifistas from a battleship slightly distanced. If the orders are rewritten, the opponents for the Straw Hat crew and Vegapunk will be Kizaru, Lucci, 30,000 Marines, 10 admirals, and several tens of pacifistas. In that case, the Straw Hat crew's victory condition of escaping from Egghead becomes desperate. Furthermore, it's not just the existence of Saint Satum. From when Kizaru comes to the research layer, Vegapunk, the Straw Hat crew, and Bonnie, who were gathered in one place, are gradually scattering. In addition, there are other worrisome elements, such as the Blackbeard pirates, who have yet to show themselves, and the ancient robots that activated at the last of Chapter 1092. As the story progresses, it can be said that the journey to escape is becoming increasingly perilous, can't it? That's the sort of consideration we've been doing, but what do you all think? That's all for today. This channel posts summaries, explanations, and ranking videos related to One Piece. If you like One Piece, we would be happy if you could support us by subscribing to our channel and commenting. Thank you for watching till the end. See you in the next video.